All right, we're taking a test tomorrow, and so today is a test review. Please be here tomorrow, okay? It's such a pain when you guys miss a test because you got to figure out where you're going to make it up and all that, and then I can't give the test back to the other people till you make up a test. It's just, don't be that person that misses school because you're taking a test that day, all right? That's weak. I'll just tell you right now, okay? It's weak, all right? So be strong. Be a man or a woman of character. Study for the test. Be ready for it. Show up tomorrow and take it. All right. So here we go. I'm just going to go through. I'm going to go through 1 through 20. Hopefully, if you let me talk, we'll be able to get through 20. I'm not going to show you exactly the questions on the test, but I will tell you which types of questions are on the test. Okay. So here we go. Number 1 on the test, and number 2. So let's put 1 and 2. So number 1 on the test, I asked you, I'll tell you exactly what I say. You probably had this on a quiz. That's probably the best thing you can do, at least for the first part of the test, is to take, how many quizzes we had on this chapter? Maybe 1 or 2? Let me just double check. Okay, let me check. I'm checking. Let's see. Nope, we've only had 1 quiz on this chapter. It was 4:1 to 4:5. So that's almost the whole entire chapter. All right. So I would definitely look at that quiz. I've given all the quizzes back. So it covered section 4:1 to 4:5. So you'll see. You'll see problems that look like this. Classify each triangle, okay, by its what? By its angle measure. I'll just say angles. I'll just shorten this a little bit. By its angles and by its what? By its side. What does that mean? If I asked you to classify a triangle according to its angles, what kind of a triangle would it be if I classify it, if I name it by what kind of angles it has? Obtuse is one. All right, let's write those down. Okay, obtuse would be classifying it by its angles. Give me a couple more. Acute. Okay, that'd be another one. Give me another one. There's 2 more. Right. Okay. There's actually 1 more. Straight. No, isosceles is not because of its angles. I already got right. It's not equilateral. Equilateral. It's equiangular. So here's your choices. Equiangular. I am not going to... Yes, it's right there. It says 1 and 2. So, everybody look at this. So, you're going to have 2 problems. Both problems, you're going to give me 2 answers. You're going to classify them by the angles, and you're going to classify them by the side length. All right? So, this is by the what? By the angles. So, those are your choices. I am not giving you those 4 choices on the test. You have to memorize those. All right? So, you have to look at it and say, is it a right triangle? Is it acute? Is it obtuse? Is it equiangular? Okay, you've got to decide which one it is. Of course, bring it up. So that deserves going to the bathroom in the middle of my test review. Okay. Bring it up. So that's what you have to do. So you're going to look at the triangle. So what if I gave you a triangle that looks like, that's kind of sloppy. What if I did that? What kind of a triangle is that? It's a right triangle by its angles, okay? You get the idea? I'm not going to draw every single one. You're welcome. All right, so that's the kind of stuff I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a triangle, and you have to tell me what kind of a triangle is it by its angles and what? Sides. By its sides. So give me some names of triangles. If I wanted to name a triangle by its sides, by the length of its sides, by its side lengths. Isosceles is a good one. Isosceles. Almost forgot how to spell it. What does isosceles mean, by the way? Okay, all the sides, not all the sides, but what? 2 of them, right? At least 2 of them, right? But we usually just go 2. So 2 or 3. All right, if you have 2 or 3 sides that are equal to each other, you could call it isosceles. Everybody got that? What if none of the sides are equal to each other? We call it a scalene triangle by its sides. What if all 3 sides are equal to each other? We call it equilateral. So equilateral. I think that's it, isn't it? For the sides. Yeah, we got none. We got 2. We got 3. All right, so there you go. We good with that? So 1 and 2 is going to have 2 answers. One's going to be one of these. The other one's going to be one of these. Everybody got it? Okay. Look at the quiz that you took, and that will look pretty close to what the test looks like. All right, here's another one. This is numbers 3 and 4, and it's all with one picture. I'll even show you the picture. So that's nice of me, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Watch. Let's do this. And let's do this. Remember this? Yeah, you had it on the quiz. I'm just going to label it A, B, C. And then I'll put a point right here, and I'll call that D. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 1 or 2 angles. All right, and you got to find whatever I ask for. Excuse me. I don't know. Let's say angle B. What if I told you angle B was, what do you think angle B looks like? It's definitely not like a 10 or a 20. It's probably not, it's not a 90. So it's probably around where? 60? Let's not call it 60 because that'll have to be 60. What is it? 55? Is that what you said? Okay, 55. Let's say it's 55. Again, this is not what's going to be on the test, but it'll be a different number. But let's just pick 55. And what if I said that was 55? So I'm going to ask you, number 3 and number 4 are going to ask you to find, what do you think? Angle A. So you're going to have to find angle A. What else are you going to have to find?
D.
Angle. Well, we can't just say D because you can't say angle D. Say it. ACD. All right. So that one right there. Obviously, it's not going to be color-coded on the test, but you're going to have to find the yellow one. You're going to have to find the blue one. Which one do you want to find? All right, how do you find A? Add up these 2. So 55. Let's do this in yellow since we're doing the yellow angle. Keep it all coordinated here. So what do? Add up the 2 angles. Oops. What does that add up to be? 110. All right. Is that my answer? Is that 110? No. What do we have to do to find this? That's right. These 2 add up to 110. What's left over? Well, left over from what? Left over from 180. So it'd be 180 minus 110, which is what? 70. So this would be what? 70 degrees. Okay. Again, the question on the test looks like this, but it's going to be different numbers. All right. So don't just memorize, okay, that one's 70, so I'll put 70 on the test. Because these numbers are not going to be the same, I promise you. All right, what about the blue one, angle ACD? You can do it 1 or 2 ways. All right, I don't know if either way is one's easier or one's harder. I don't know. All right, I'd probably do it this way, though. How would you find the blue angle, this ACD? Now remember, watch. No. 110 plus 70 would be 180. All right, that blue one is not 180 degrees. That's what I would do. It's 180 minus what? This one right here. Okay, do you see how it makes a straight line? How many degrees is a line? 180. So if I know this one, this part of it, what's left over? 180 what? Minus 55. What's that? 125? All right, so that's what this angle is right there. It's 125. There's another way I could do it. If you don't like subtracting from 180, it's not that hard, but if you don't like that, Emma, do you have your hand up? What's another way I could solve for that? Exactly right. Because I could add these 2 together right here, the 55 and the 70. Do you remember the theorem we talked about? The exterior angle is equal to the sum of the remote interior angles. Remember the story I talked about the TV and the remote control and all that stuff? These are the remote controls. These are the remote interior angles. So if I just add those up, that's going to equal this exterior angle. So you could do it that way as well. Most people forget that one. Don't know why. We went over it a whole bunch. Okay, Emma didn't forget it. She saw it right away. So another way to get 125 would be what? 70 plus 55. That's 12. That's 5. Look, you get the same exact answer. You get it two different ways though, don't you? All right, you could just add those up. That's what this angle is. Or you could take this angle that's next to it, take it away from 180, and you still get the same exact answer. All right, enough of that. That's up to 4. So now, let's talk about number 5, 6, and 7. They're all kind of the same. Everybody got that down right there? Everybody, can I move up? All right. So let's do 5, 6, and 7. So 5, 6, and 7. This is that one where you have to write they give you a couple triangles, they're congruent to each other, and you got to tell what the congruent statement is and give the reason why they're congruent. Everybody remember that one? I'll tell you what. I'll do one for you. How about that? Oops. I'm only going to do one, though. That's it. So, I don't know if this is going to help you or not. Some people, it kind of looks like this. It's not exactly, but it's kind of. All right, and what if I did this? And what if I told you a few things about this? What if I told you that this angle was equal to this angle, and this angle was equal to this angle? And that's all I told you. And we got to put some letters in here. Let's call it A, B, C, D. Picture looks slightly different on the test, and I'm not using letters A, B, C, and D. So don't just sit here and memorize it and then just regurgitate it on the test. That's an ugly word, isn't it? Regurgitate. All right. But anyway, so here we go. First of all, we got to do two things. One, we have to write a congruence statement. Oops. Congruence statement. What does that mean? Congruent statement. What does it mean? Triangle what? Right. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF or whatever it is. Okay? All right. And then we have to give a reason why. I'm going to write down the word reason, but I'll tell you on the test, I say name the postulate that justifies why they're congruent. But what does that mean? That just means give a what? Give a reason. All right? I don't say reason on the test. I say name the postulate that justifies why they're congruent. Everybody hear me? So we don't get confused. But I'm just going to write that down because I don't want to write all that out. Okay? It just means give me a reason why. I'll even put why. Give me a reason why. Okay? So let's take a look at it. I got two triangles. Let's do the second one first. Give me a reason why they're congruent to each other. Because of the side joins. Is that a reason? Am I going to write down? That's what I want. I want what? Angle. Where's the side? I don't even have a side marked. It's not angle D. It's side what? DB, right, or BD. See how DB is shared by both of these triangles? So what could I put just to show that they're equal? I just put a little tick mark, right? What does that mean? That means DB on this triangle is what? Is equal to DB on the other triangle. So now let's take a look. What do I have? I got an angle. I got a what? I got a side, and I got another what? Angle. And I got it over here as well, don't I? Right? I got this one arc angle. I got the same side, and I got the two arc angle. So why? Give me the reason why they're congruent. Angle, side, angle. To tell you the truth, I think that's probably the easiest thing to do first, right? Is just look at them and say, why are they congruent to each other? So that's actually part 2. It doesn't matter what order you put them in. Let's do a congruent statement. It's triangle. Don't just put the letters. Put the triangle symbol in front of it. on both of them. So it's triangle blank is congruent to triangle blank. All right. Let's use this triangle up here on the top left. All right, this one up here. What do I want to call that triangle? You can use any of those three letters. ABD? All right, that's probably what I would have called it. ABD. Kind of stretch those out too much. Let's put a big old congruent right there. Now, I could have called this one any of those three letters, A, B, and D. All right, I could have called it ADB. I could have called it BAD. I could have called it D, whatever. Any combination of letters A, B, and D. But the second one has to match up with the first one. How many times have I said that in here? A whole bunch, haven't I? All right. So if I go ABD, what is this? This is the angle with no arc on it. So which one over here has got no arc on it? The C. The B's got the 2. So which angle on this triangle has the 2 arcs? The D. The D. Look, you're saying CBD. You did say D on the second one? Okay, it sounded like you said B. I'm sorry. All right, so let's say it again. The A's got no arc. The C's got no arc. Those are the ones that are going to go together. The B, right, has 2 arcs, or 2 arcs. And then what's got 2 arcs down here? The D. And of course, what's left over? The B. All right, so it has to be in that order. The A and the C got to match up. The B and the D have to match up. And this D and this B have to match up. We good? All right. And that's your answer right there. You got to have both of those things. And they both have to be right. All right. There's no partial credit. How do you get partial credit on your test? Say it. Well, I don't give it to you. Not on a test. I don't give you partial credit. How do you get partial credit on a test? Come on. How many days does it take to do a test in here? 1. Takes 2. What do we do on the second day? We do corrections. That's your partial credit, okay? Doing the corrections. On a test, I don't give you anything. On a quiz, I do, all right? If you miss one, it's actually worth 2 points. I only take off 1 point. So I'm giving you a lot of grace on a quiz. On a test, though, you have to earn the partial credit. You have to earn it, okay? So there you go. So I'm not going to do 3 of these, but there will be 3 of them on here, 5, 6, and 7. This kind of looks like number 5. It's pretty close to it. Right? Look on the quiz, look on the homework. I told my class the other day, people ask me all the time, Mr. Hamrick, how do you study for a math test? Well, you study for a math test by doing problems. That's how you study for a math test. Now in geometry, there is a lot of sitting there looking at your notes and remembering things. All right. So in geometry, there's absolutely. But especially in algebra, how do you study for an algebra test? You do problems. That's what you do. All right. So what I would do, if I were you, open up, well, definitely do the quiz first. Okay. Make sure you go through the quiz, make sure you understand. And I think after we took that quiz, I think we even took a whole class period to go over every single problem on that quiz. All right. So, there's no reason not to know what's on that quiz. All right. And a lot of this stuff, I would say at least 2/3 of this test is going to be the stuff that was on the quiz. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Now, do you remember the next one that we did? This is the one where it says state additional information. Remember that one? Yeah. You hated that one? Yeah. A lot of people got that wrong. Let's get it right this time. Good. Oh, yeah, more. All right. Here's an example of this kind of problem. This is 8, 9, and 10. So I'm going to write that down. 8, 9, and 10. So you got 3 of these. Okay? So it's going to kind of look like this. We'll just call this A, B, C, and D. All right? And they give you some information. They don't give you enough information to tell that they're congruent, though. They don't give you enough. On this one right here, they gave you enough information to say that they were congruent, didn't they? All right, they told you this angle was equal to this one. They told you this angle was equal to this one. All we had to do is look at it and say, they kind of told us that DB was equal to DB, didn't they? All right, because we can just see it. It's shared by both of them. So really, they gave us plenty of information to say that those are congruent. Right here, they do not give you enough information. But what's one other thing that they didn't really mark on here, but we could figure out that's true? It's just like we did on that other one, that number 5. The BD again, right? And in fact, it's even the same letters, all right? They got that BD. So we know already that that's true. That's not additional information. That's information that we can look at and we know it's true already, okay? Just by looking at the stuff that I marked in red, is that enough to say that these triangles are congruent to each other? It's not, okay? So what they ask you is, give me something that needs to be equal to each other in order for these triangles to be congruent because of angle, side, angle. Now, they don't give me it, but I got to figure out what needs to be said, what needs to be shown equal to each other for these to be congruent. So there's my angle, right? There's my side, right? There's an angle, there's a side. What am I missing? What additional information would I need to know in order for these triangles to be congruent? Yeah, name that angle for me. ABD. That's right. Don't just say angle B, because angle B could mean the whole thing. It could mean the top one, or it could mean this bottom one. So this angle right here is ABD. Everybody see that? So if I knew that was true, let's do this in a different color. If I knew that angle ABD is equal to what? What's this angle right here? Give me letters. CBD. All right? That's the additional information. They didn't tell it to me, did they? But if I was able to tell you, the additional information was, if I knew that this angle and this angle were equal, then what would be true about the triangles? They would be congruent because of what? Angle, side, angle. So what is my answer? My answer is what? Angle ABD must be congruent to angle what? CBD. That's my answer. That's the additional information that we need to know in order to say that those two triangles are congruent to each other. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't know how else I could explain it. I think that's a pretty good explanation, don't you? So there's 3 of them. There's 8, 9, and 10. Pictures will look a little different for all 3 of them. And then they're going to tell you, give me the additional information in order for the triangles to be congruent for the reasons given. This is because of angle, side, angle. There might be one that needs to be congruent because of side, 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 or side, angle, side, or something like that, or angle, angle, side. Okay? And you just have to find out what's the missing piece. That's a good way of thinking of it, right? What's the missing part that we don't know, that if we knew it was true, then those triangles would be congruent. It's that right there. All right, let's move on. We're halfway done. Let's go to the other side. Okay, 11, 12, and 13 is the right triangle congruence stuff. Do you remember? And I actually do give you, I list them for you, just because we haven't gone over that a whole lot. All right, so I list it for you. What are the right triangle congruence reasons? Not side, angle, side, not angle, side, angle. What are the right triangle congruence ones? Well, the first one was leg. No, we're not going to do angles and sides. We're doing legs and hypotenuse, and we might throw an angle in there as well. Okay, so what is this? Leg, leg. What's another one? Okay, what does that mean? HA. We don't say HA. Hypotenuse angle. All right, give me another. There's 4 of them. Hypotenuse leg, and there's one more. And I give them to you, so you don't have to memorize them, but I do give them to you. Leg angle. So there's leg, leg, hypotenuse angle, hypotenuse leg, and leg angle. Again, I give you 3 of them, so it's 11, 12, and 13. But they're all different pictures, but they're basically the same thing. So what we're going to do, it's very much like this right here, except the reason why is not going to be angle, side, angle, and side, angle, side. It's going to be what? Leg, leg, hypotenuse angle, and all that. But we still have to write a, what do we call this thing right here? No, we already said the reason. Congruent statement, okay? So this is going to be the same kind of thing. All right, so let me, oops, what was that? How did that pop up? No, it's fine. I don't know. Must have clicked something. All right. Ooh. Oh, I know what I did. Let's do this. There we go. All right, what if we have this and put a little right angle there, and then we're going to have this. So there's my two triangles, okay? And I'm going to put a right angle right there. Okay, and yeah, what they do on the test, they'll do this. There's going to be 3 different triangles. Okay, I'm only going to do one for you. Okay, you look at the book, you look at the quiz, and I think did we have this right triangle stuff on the quiz? We didn't? Okay, so we stopped before this. All right. So, but it's on the homeworks. All right, so look at the homework problem. Let's see. So, first of all, why are these triangles congruent to each other? Why is this triangle right here? Let's put some letters in here. A, B, C, and D. All right? So why are these triangles congruent to each other? Using these 4, one of these 4. Well, we got this thing. This is the 3rd time today that we've talked about this. What's shared by both triangles? It's AC, right? So I'm going to put a little what? A little tick mark right there, okay? What are these arrows? Why did I put that on there? What does that mean? They're parallel to each other. Now, look what we got. We got parallel lines, right? Cut by a what? Transversal. The transversal is AC, isn't it? So what do we know? Listen to me. This is not like additional information or anything. This is stuff that we can tell by the information they give you on this picture. What do I know about that angle right there? It's equal to this one down here. That's right. Okay. Why? Give me a reason why. You don't have to on the test, but just for fun. Why are these 2 angles equal to each other? Because if you have 2 parallel lines cut by transversal, then the blank angles are equal to each other. They're not opposite. Nope, no hypotenuse. Why are these 2 angles equal to each other? No, that's why triangles are congruent. Look, this. Why is angle 1 and angle 2 equal to each other? If these were not just interior, what's the word? Alternate interior, right? Okay, you didn't forget this already, did you? All right, we did this a lot, didn't we? Alternate interior angles are equal. So, just by looking at the picture, I know that that stuff's true. So why are the triangles congruent to each other? Well, actually, I could put a little box right there, right? So that would be a right triangle, wouldn't it? And wouldn't this be a right triangle as well? Yeah. So I've got a right triangle. What do I have? I've been given an angle. What is this side to this right triangle? Is it a leg or is it a hypotenuse? It's a hypotenuse. That's right. So which of these 4 am I going to use for a reason why these triangles are congruent? HL? I wasn't given any legs. I was given the hypotenuse and I was given an angle. All right, so I'm going to use what? Hypotenuse angle. That's my reason. That's the reason why these triangles are congruent to each other. Okay, because it's opposite the right angle. All right, hypotenuse is always opposite the right angle. The legs are just the other 2 sides of the right triangle. Okay, so we know that's a hypotenuse for a fact because it's opposite that right angle. You with me on that? So why are these, what's the reason? Remember, there's 2 things, right? Write a congruent statement. Give me a reason. What's the reason? It's hypotenuse angle. That's your reason. There's no other reason. Don't write anything else except hypotenuse angle. Because again, we know that they're right triangles. You can only use these when you have what? Right triangles. Okay, do we have right triangles? Yes. So that's what we're going to use. I even list them for you on the test, so you don't have to remember which ones are which. Okay, I list them for you. Now we have to do the good old triangle congruent statement. Let's write it down here. So triangle. What do you want to call this triangle right here? Yeah, let's call it ABC. And then that's going to be congruent to triangle. Now watch. I went A, B, C. So what am I going to go right here? I'm going to go C, then what? D, then A. All right? Everybody see that? Because this one would equal this one. So I'm going from 2 to the right to 1. What do I do over here? I'm going 2 to the right to 1. Everybody see that? And that's how you do CDA. So it has to be the A and the C have to match up, the B and the D have to match up, and this C and this A have to match up. Everybody good? All right, so what is that? That's 11, 12, 13. All right, I got what, 10 minutes left?
No.
Think I can finish the test in 10 minutes?
Feel like you could.
13. Ah, our favorite stuff.
What's this, 14?
This is 14, 15, and 16. Tell you what, let's stretch this one out just a little bit. Okay? And I'm going to do this. I'm going to draw... Oh, oops, forgot. Got it. Let's try this again. Boom, right there. It used to be when I had a thing selected, I could draw right on top of it, but now they changed it. I can't do that. Yeah, technology. All right, so there you go. What did I just do? What are those dots? Did I just put random dots on the thing? All right, they're midpoints, right? But when I connect the two midpoints, what do I get? I get a mid-segment. We know two things about the mid-segment. So that's the midpoint, so that means that one and that one are equal. This is a midpoint, so I know that this one and this one are equal. All right? I know two things about the mid-segment. Let's write that down. Mid-segment. What do I know? It's half of this, right? So, I don't know, let's just call it A, B, C, D, and E. All right? So, DE is what? Half of BC. What else do we know about it? It's also what? Parallel. That's right. So I could also say that line segment DE is parallel to line segment BC. Why did I put a line segment on top of this one, but I didn't do it to this one? I did it for a reason, specific reason that we've talked about before, but still people I don't think get it. If there's no line segment over top of it, it means the measure of the line segment, how long the line segment is, okay? When you just put the line segment over top of it, it's just naming the line segment. It's just saying line segment DE, line segment BC, all right? But this means the measure of it, how long the line segment is when there's no line segment over top of it. Everybody remember that? Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, we have taught it before. So those are the two things that are true about a mid-segment. So I could very easily, watch how easy this problem is. This is super easy. Give me a length for DE. Don't give me anything crazy, but just give me a 5. Okay, I heard 5. So let's make that 5. So the question would say, what is line segment BC equal to? All right. And then it would just be what? It'd be 10. That's right. Because this is half of this. Okay. Or the third side is twice as big as the mid segment, however you want to look at it. Would you agree? All right. That's as easy as that. Or I could change it around. Give me a, besides 10, give me another number for BC. 12? All right. So what if that's 12? What if I said BC is 12? What would DE be equal to? It'd be 6. It's as easy as that. All right. So that's 14 and 15, I just give you regular numbers. But then on number 16, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it in terms of what? X. Yes. So watch. Just making up some numbers here. Hopefully it works out. Now, how would I solve for either one of these? Let's say we want to solve for DE or BC. It doesn't make any difference because what are we eventually going to do? What's our first step? Our first step is to, well, not our first step, but we want to find X, don't we? All right. We've done this before, right? You got to do a little bit of algebra. We've done it a lot. So what do? Do I set them equal to each other? No, I don't set them equal. They're not equal. DE is not equal to BC. So do I set them equal to each other? Do I add them up and set them equal to 180? Well, that would be ridiculous because that just talks about angles. I'm not even talking about angles here, right? So what kind of math, what kind of an equation would I set up? Well, let's think of it. We could think of it this way, or you could think of it like this, that BC is what? BC is how much of DE? It's twice DE, right? Yeah? So let's set up an algebra equation. Let's do that. Let's start with that one. So BC is 3x minus 8. Is it equal to x plus 2? It's not equal. They're definitely not equal. This one's twice as big as this one, right? You hear what I just said? This one right here, the 3x minus 8, is what? Twice as big as this one right here. So let's write that down. 3x minus 8 equals what? Twice as big to what? Is it plus? What is it? It's times. That's right. It's twice as big as the mid-segment. Does that make sense? This is the longer side, right? It's equal to 2 times the mid-segment. Yes? Remember we said this was 12 and this was 6? 12 is what? Twice as big as 6. Would you agree? But we don't know this is 12. We don't know this is 6. But we do know that this third side right here, the 3x minus 8, is twice as big as the mid-segment. Now, can you do some math and solve for x here? You should be able to. We've done a ton of this year. So let's do it. 3x minus 8 equals what? Distribute. 2x plus 4. I'm going to do this quick because I'm running out of time. Subtract 2x from both sides. This is something that should be almost second nature to you. I'm going to add an 8 to both sides. What happens? 3x minus 2x is x. Minus 8 plus 8 cancels out. 2x minus 2x cancels out. X is what? 12. But that's not what they ask for. They don't ask for x. They ask you to find the lengths of these two. They could ask you for either one. All right? Let's just find the mid-segment. What's the mid-segment then? X was what? X is 12. So what's the mid-segment? What? No, this was from something else. It's 12 plus 2, right? It's x plus 2. Everybody see that? Look, so x is 12. So what do? I replace that x with what? 12. What's 12 plus 2? It's 14. So if this is 14, what's BC? 20-something. Can't double 14? It's 28. All right? So that's 28 and that's 14. If you wanted to, you could have put the 12 in for the x. That'd be a little bit more difficult. It was way easier just going 12 plus 2. Would you agree? But you could go 3 times 12 minus 8. What's 3 times 12? 36 minus 8 is? It's 28. Okay? Just like it was before. All right, let's do one more. All right, so that's 14, 15, and 16. Okay, those kinds right there. And then I got one more. I'm going to draw it out. I'm not going to give you numbers. I'm just going to... what's the last thing that we've been dealing with in this book? Give me a good geometry word. What was the title of the last lesson? Did you write it down? You got your notes in front of you? Coordinate geometry. That's right. Coordinate geometry. This is 17 to 20. All right. It's another mid-segment, but they're not just going to tell you the lengths of them. What do you think they're going to tell you? They're going to give you an ordered pair. All right. Now, they give these to you. They don't leave them blank. I'm just not putting numbers in here because we don't have enough time anyway. All right. I'm just showing you what the problem looks like. You'll see this in the book. Go look in the book. All right. And you'll see it. I don't think we had a quiz on this, but look in the book. We've discussed this before. I'm going to ask you two things. So 17 and 18, I'm going to ask you to find the slope. Okay? And number 19 and 20, what do you think I'm going to ask you to find? The distance. or the length. I'm going to call it length. Okay? So what if I ask you to find the slope of from here to here? Look, I didn't give you any points, did I? Remember, I do give you points up here, okay? I'm just not showing you what the points are. We'll call this x1, we'll call that y1. We'll call this x2, we'll call that y2. So how would I find the slope of this one if I don't know those points? Well, find the slope of this one right here. Everybody see this? Find the slope of this one. What's the slope of this? It's not half. It's not half. It's the same because they're parallel. It's the distances are half, okay? Okay? But the slopes are exactly the same. So whatever the slope is here, the slope of this one's going to be exactly the same. What about length? They don't tell you the length from here to here. They don't give you those points, do they? But you can find the length of this one.
Why are we packing up?
Everybody listening? You can find the length of this one, the distance. So once you find the length of this one, how do you find the length from here to here? You just take the distance and do what to it? Divide it by 2. Okay? So that's 19 and 20. They do give you points. They give you numbers. They don't give you x1, y1. They actually put numbers in here, okay? So you find the distance. You know the distance formula. We've been going over that enough. I don't think I have to write that down for you. You should know how to find the slope. I don't have to write that down for you. So make sure you're ready for it tomorrow.